sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grind it. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say, oh, similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.
What it do? The On Your Mark show, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel. Every play I compete, live from the Fishbowl Radio Network. If that song don't get you right, look, I'm ready to go put on the pads, coach. It's going down, man. I'm telling you. Shout out to my guy, Maynard Mike, back in the studio. We working on some new heat for you coming out, man. The season is almost here, but we're going to jump into the flex zone with it today with my guy, Coach Jay. We got a big camp coming up Sunday in Salina under the lights. You can't get no better than that. Shout out to my guy, Angelo, behind the ones and twos. Technology. That's the reason we've been the best new show. We've been the top sports show, and we coming for everything this year on the Fishbowl Radio Net. We coming for the number ones. We coming for y'all neck, man. Shout out to my guy DD and all the great shows on the Fishbowl Radio Network. But man, I'm excited today, as you can hear it in my voice. Got my guy Coach Jay, Epic Sports Apparel CEO, Coast to Coast Athletics CEO. It's going down again under the lights, Salina Sunday. Man, I can't wait. Coach, what's up with it, man? What it do?
Man, it's a blessing as always, Mark. It's a blessing, man, to wake up, to be able to do what we do. And man, shout out to you. Shout out to Fishbowl. Man, let's keep pushing it.
Absolutely, man. You know we're going to keep pushing the envelope. But let's dive in. Let's go back a little bit before we just get right in on it. Shout out to my guy Boogie Johnson, U of H down there as well. You and him kind of came up with this, a few years ago, for the listeners that don't know about the Flex Zone. What was the genesis and the purpose of really getting this thing going?
Well, it kind of goes back to, yes, shout out to Boogie. He's actually in Frisco right now for Big 12 Media Day with U of H. So shout out U of H. Shout out Big 12 Media Day.
Yes, sir.
They're down there right now doing their thing. Mark, as you know, back then, my crew, we would go to camps all over the country. And this was, middle school, elementary. We, from track meets to camps, we were coast to coast. And the one argument the kids always had was they didn't have time to get in the one-on-ones. The camp would, be long, and then they a lot of them would cut it off, to where, or it was so many kids, they didn't get a lot of reps. So the idea hit me that, hey, why don't we just do one where it's just strictly, one-on-ones? And the guys were like, yes, that would be great, because, that's what they love. And I'm like, there's enough camps, and we support as many camps as possible where you can, get all your 40s and, jumps and stuff in. But I didn't see where there was anything, and this was when he was in the 7th grade. I didn't see anything out there where it was just centered around, one-on-one. So the first one we did at indoor soccer field in spring, right outside of Houston. And I wasn't expecting it to, have maybe 10, 15 kids. And I think we ended up with like 40 kids.
Okay.
And, it went great, and from that point, I kind of got a little nervous, because I was like, man, I might be on to something.
Right.
Shout out to Mike West, came out. JP Tillman, ran the quarterbacks. And I mean, it was a really good turnout, and the boys got a lot of work, and they had fun doing it.
Right.
So, I kind of said, okay, let me really focus on, putting a plan together and making it bigger. So I paused for a couple of years, and we brought it back in Dallas, and it's been growing like crazy. And the plan is, as you know, is to at some point in the near future, make it a national thing. Because of course, with us traveling, we still hear the same thing. A lot of kids don't get to compete on the one-on-ones. Now, the other thing I think that makes us different is we score
Mm-hmm.
every single rep to where, we don't, it doesn't matter, who trains you. It doesn't matter what your name is. When you come to Flex Zone, your reps count towards your individual score. That's all we care about. What you do when you get there. We don't care what your name is, how tall you are. We just want you to come put in work.
Right.
And the rest will, take care of itself. And we've been able to show that kids that come end up going to other places and do well and do great and get offers. So I think we do a really good job of identifying, talent, identifying guys that want to work before a lot of other people find out about it, because those are the guys that we are, looking at. If you haven't been on the radar, if you're on the radar, come get some work.
Absolutely, and I think that's the reason, and that's the selling point here, guys. It's the jump start. A lot of the guys exposure when it comes to being noticed by college, being noticed by people around the country, not just in the state of Texas. This is the jump start, and we talk about early identification when it comes to guys, especially at the middle school and youth level, and going on. And you can see some of the guys that have come through the Flex Zone have started to get that traction, and some of them are actually starting college, probably coming up this year, or at least 1 or 2 years in college now. It's a breeding ground for competition. It's a breeding ground for getting quality reps. And you brought up a great point. And this is something that we kind of harp on weekly here on the On Your Mark show. Getting these quality reps at a camp, you have to know how to camp as well. And being involved with the Flex Zone for a number of years now, we go through these things, and the thing about the staff that works the camps, and Coach Jay and myself, you're being taught how to camp, instructional wise as well. How important is that as well, Coach?
That is extremely important, because what we teach is you got to have a plan of action
Right.
off the field. And then we use things like Flex Zone and other camps to kind of hone in those skills to see, are you getting reps? Are you forcing yourself to get in the line and get quality reps? It's not just about showing up, putting some cleats on. It is about jumping out, showing who you are every rep. Win or lose, you shouldn't put your head down. Don't walk back. So we're teaching all of those things during Flex Zone. We're preparing kids for the biggest of the biggest camps, which is getting in front of these college coaches. So we're making sure that you understand that, one, you have to come as if you're a brand, as you're a business, and take care of business while you're there. And if you don't, we suggest that you continue to hone your skills before you go and get in front of these coaches. So that's extremely important. And we harp that to every kid that shows up.
Absolutely. I think that's the strongest part of this whole entire thing, is that you have to understand, and like you said, go in with a plan. A lot of times, you go to these bigger camps, which I have privy and you have privy to, an opportunity to go to these things and kind of observe and work them, in a certain way. Kids get lost in the sauce. They don't understand that you're fighting for reps. And when you got 400, 500 kids at one of these large mega camps, you have to you have to fight for your position at all times. It's one of those things where you are really, really fighting for reps. And a lot of times, the secret sauce is when you get to these larger schools, these larger Power Four camps, the coaches already have invited certain guys. You have to really make yourself stand out. The Flex Zone, when you do this, you are going to stand out by on your own validity, on what you do, how you perform, and how you stand out, and how you get in the zone, Coach.
No, absolutely, Mark. And one of the biggest things about recruiting is a lack of information and lack of understanding of what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and understanding to have a plan. And anybody can tell you that understands camping the one thing that's going to hurt you is not having enough reps. If you're 40 is a blazing fast, you standing broad jump 11 feet, then yeah, they're going to notice that because you jump off the screen. But
Right.
if you're just, right above average, the one thing that has to stand out, they have to see as many reps as possible. Now, how does that happen? You got to have a plan. You have to be willing to fight for those reps in order to get them. And not all the time at all camps is that going to happen. So you have to get used to being in grind mode and, trying to put yourself out there as much as possible. And those are the things that we teach.
Absolutely, and I think it's been a proof of success, and you've seen it from the kids that go on, especially the younger guys coming through. They have to understand what the process is, and their parents also have to understand the process as well. Coach, how important is that? And that's one thing. Even at the last year, shout out to Anthony Williams. He came out and you had him address the parents on the recruiting. That was a part of the camp that was strictly for the parents, where you had him break down the recruiting process. You went through it and spoke to them as well. How important is it they understand how to get their kids in the right mindset to come and compete at a camp setting? And the Flex Zone does that, and that's what it's all about. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, Marcus, and shout out to Anthony Williams, man. We always try to have some kind of special guests, guys that have been in the industry, guys that I've learned from, guys that I've mentored, to show up and give some words of wisdom. It's extremely important for the parents to know, because the parents are the ones taking the kids, and they have to know what they're investing in when they get in the car and drive. Unfortunately, a lot of parents just go in thinking that, hey, I'm going to take my son to this college showcase to get him some exposure, but not understanding, have we done our due diligence to prepare our kid to do what's best, to do his best when he get there? It's not just, I got to show up. There are a lot of different things you have to do prior to going in front of these colleges that parents should know. So we try to make sure we give them that information, as well as, giving them a platform where kids can honestly get a ton of work in from some really good coaches. We always try to get our NFL guys, our college kids come out and help some of the best high school coaches. So shout out to Heiss Austin. I'm going to just run down real quick who's going to be at the next one Sunday.
Okay.
Calvin Davis, Heiss Austin, Deshae Milburn, my guy Willie Powell, Coach Steve Brown. Lyman, you will be at the one in Houston. Warpstream, Texas Top Talent, of course, On the Mark, representing everybody. Prospect sports staff will be there to assist and help at check-in. Then our two sponsors, Core Strength and Wellness and Kiera Coleman, shout out to them. They'll be in the building at the Houston and DFW events. And guys, it's a competition. It is not a camp. We don't look at it as a camp, because we're doing position specific only to get the guys acclimated to the routes and understanding the routes that we're going to do that competition. So we have to give them time with our coaching staff to do that. And then we go straight into competition and we compete until it's time to go. So we want to make sure that, every kid gets reps. We do not believe in, now at a college showcase, if your kid stands around, they're not going to push them to get reps.
Right.
We push them.
Absolutely.
We're going to make sure your kid gets reps, because we're there to prepare them for that, not duplicate or mimic what college showcases do. We're there to prepare them to say, hey, if you want to be successful, get up there, get some reps.
Absolutely. And I think that's what you have to do, because at a college camp, they're not going to be pushing you. They're not going to say, hey, man, you need to get up there. It's going to be at your own pace. It's going to be at your own, gumption to get up there and get busy. You know what I'm saying? The Flex Zone is a different animal. You know what I mean? They're going to get you there and make you and push you. Now, if you just fizzle out, you just fizzle out. But some of that has to go with, your mental makeup as well. And I think that's one other thing, within a flex zone camp. And listen, guys, parents, players, that roster of coaches that he just ran down are some of the best in the game. And, in the state of Texas and nationally, these guys do this on a weekly basis. You know what I'm saying? From Deshae Milburn to Heist Austin, Steve Brown, Willie Coach, you ran down a list of guys. Of course, we're familiar and we work with all of these guys in some form or fashion. But that's a hot list of guys that really know the game. And also, guys, another tidbit is these guys have skin in the game with college coaches. So if they pull you over and talk to you, or if they give you some kind of encouragement, best believe they got you on a list of guys that go on to get put in front of these coaches at another date. And then another thing about the flex zone coaches, you've always let these guys, this is a jump start to get into showcases for these younger guys, for combines, for these other guys, at other events. This is the jump start. This is the beginning. And these guys go on to do that. How important is the parents have to understand that networking within a camp setting is important as well.
Oh, Mark, one of the things that I love about this is it's teaching the young guys that, we are just one part of a big microcosm.
Right.
And the networking tool, and we push that, guys, don't be afraid to go camp at anywhere, honestly, because that's what helped us. And personally, I myself take the information, every spreadsheet of the kids that join, and I send them to Anthony Williams. I send them to any guys that are hosting camps and say, hey, invite these guys. So as soon as this camp is done, those kids can be looking on the lookout for invites from other camps around the country. And it's up to them, whether they go. But I want guys to get invited to FBU, to SPE, to any and everything that's out there, Lyman U, whatever it is, go and compete, because you're going to learn something that's going to help you some stretch, some fashion later on down the line. So that's important. But our job is to make sure that we promote the kids to where we're not trying to gatekeep the information. Next year, one of my, favorite camps outside of FBU, I make sure that Brent Williams gets every kid's info and film or whatever he needs, because I really love what Next Gen does on a level. So I try to promote every kid to make sure they're getting love outside of, just Flex Zone.
Absolutely. And that's a big thing. That's why I brought that up, is because these things go on after each Flex Zone. And you see it, each kid that goes on, the standouts, you know what I mean? This is to help identify those standouts. And and 9 times out of 10, really 10 out of 10, they end up getting invites to these camps. They end up getting invites to college camps. They end up getting the exposure from a media perspective as well, with guys like myself in the building and Texas Top Talent and things like that. Shout out to my guys from Jefferson. They really took off after this. Was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Those guys from Jefferson High School got an article written in the paper in their own city. You know what I'm saying? And this was something that you didn't even have control of, but word got back to their city and to their high school as their performance, and they continue right now. Those 2 guys that I'm talking about are really good players in the 2027 class at Jefferson High School. But starting at the Flex Zone was their genesis, and that's the reason we do this, is to help identify these guys. We're looking for the underdog. Of course, we're going to see the 4 and 5 stars just because we're in that particular space, and we're going to promote those guys as well. But we're looking for the guy in the Flex Zone that wants to come and get it out of the mud. And you have that opportunity this weekend, Salina, Texas, Salina High School, under the lights, man. It's going to be going down. Then we move back to the H in a couple of weeks on Saturday, the 26th of July. The Flex Zone is getting you ready. And you have to come in ready to go. This is not something where you can come in and be lazy about it. This is, those guys, we're talking about from 5th grade through high school, and those high school guys and middle school guys getting ready for their seasons coming up in August. So, this is the creme de la creme. This is the jump start for everything. If you want to get your battery jump start, you need to get in the Flex Zone. And this is one of those things that you have to come in ready and prepared to be challenged because you're going to be challenged. Now, Coach, when you mentioned earlier going into camps, you saw that sometimes it was jaded or not. I guess what I would say not all the way in the right. Judging from the standpoint of talent. Talk about the scoring system and how you really, really try to harp on that because the position coaches have to keep score of what they're doing at each station, and this is also has to do with them also being recognized at the end of the Flex Zone Challenge.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And let me go back a little bit. Shout out to you for uh, the kids out of Jefferson who are doing some amazing things right now. That write up in the newspaper came directly from your write up of you basically, saying, hey, these kids came out, and of course they won MVP hands down.
Right.
And you gave them their flowers, and then the local newspaper, came back and said, hey, that was a great article. Let's write about these guys. So that started from you,
Absolutely.
giving those guys that shining that light on them, and it really jumped from there. And their recruiting took off like crazy. And
Yes.
I check up on them constantly. As a matter of fact, I think he won every last one of them that he came to.
He sure did.
But every last one of them,
Yeah.
whether it was in Beaumont or Dallas,
He came.
he didn't mind on the road
Yeah.
and it happened. So
Yeah.
But going back to the scoring, and this is something that I'm constantly working on. Talking to Boogie about, talking to coaches. What is the best way to be non-biased? What is the best way to make sure that every kid is accounted for, that we're not missing anyone? Is it perfect? By no stretch, but we do our best to make sure that every kid gets reps. And the scoring, as far as the quarterbacks, Calvin Davis runs the quarterbacks. He does his own scoring based on how he teaches, and he's level across the board. He doesn't care whether he trains you or who you are, based on his credentials, based on how he coaches. He does an amazing job at looking at the quarterbacks and scoring them. So I have to refer to him on that one. I just leave that to him. I don't know how to score quarterbacks. The wide receivers, and DBs, I'll go to them first. Is everybody uses the same route tree. So
Right.
based on how the receivers, run the route, are they getting the right depth, are they catching the ball? And then for the DBs, based on, how they cover the route, are they, grabbing, things like that. So everybody is using the same metric, and O-line, D-line is very simple. If you get to the quarterback, you win. If you keep him, within 4 seconds, you win. Simple as that. So that's kind of, cut and dry. But we score it, and then we tally up all the scores, and the guy with the highest score wins. So again, it's about how many reps you're going to get and the value. So you and I both have gone to camps and seen a kid get slaughtered the whole camp, do one good rep, and walk away MVP. And we're scratching our head like, how did that happen? Right? We don't want that ever at Flex Zone. So the only way to do that is to make sure that we have a system in place where every kid is being accounted for, every kid is looked at. Now I'm adding, more coaches to just score, and we compile all of them so we get a different look from 3 or 4 different positions. So I think every year we're going to add, more to it to where the scoring is better and better and better, because again, we want to eliminate the possibility of bias. So we have, 2 or 3 people scoring. We take all that together, and whatever scores the highest out of them all, that's the kid that's going to win.
Absolutely, and I think that eliminates a lot of the guessing as well, and that also puts the onus
Absolutely.
back on the kids. you know what I mean, to perform and do their thing. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Mark, that's what it's all about. Last year we had a fierce quarterback competition where Calvin was telling the quarterbacks, "Hey, you're losing right now.
Right.
It's close," and guys had to step up. And that is the kind of thing that guys got to understand. We see a lot of lethargic kids at these college camps where they just there and not understanding that you are actually competing for an offer. You're
Right.
not there showcasing your skills
Right.
just because you're competing for the ultimate thing, which is an offer from the school.
Right.
Whether that you get the offer that day or you get it later, you have to compete at your highest. We put it in the sense of the game is always on the line when you get flexed home,
Right.
and it is.
Right. Always on the line. And hence on the word challenge. You got to be challenged in order to be great. You know what I mean? You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you're on your everything's on the line. And it's a challenge at each rep, each station. Anything that you do at the flex zone is going to be challenged, and that's the genesis of everything, coach, is you're going to be challenged. In the zone, come get in the zone and get challenged at the same time.
Iron sharpens iron. You listen. I have yet to see one where a kid did not get everything he needed out of it.
Right. Right. It's just one of those things where you got to come in and compete. You know, the dog's gonna show up. You know, a lot of people, you know, say they got dog in them and this and that, but you know, the dog is gonna show up regardless of whatever setting they're in. And you know, the cream rises to the top every time, every time. You know, last year it was a lot of kids out there, and the cream rose to the top, and those kids went on to be successful going into their next season or their next fall or whatever. And so we expect the same thing when we show up Sunday night in Salina and when we show up in the H. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is the opportunity, guys, and this is why we wanted to bring this to the show today, is to come get that work, come and get challenged, and come get in the zone Sunday. You know, the guys in the DFW area, Oklahoma as well, sometime Louisiana and East Texas, man, right there in Salina, Texas, come and get in the zone. And then in the H, you know, we expect to pull in Austin, San Antonio, Beaumont, like you said before, a little bit of East Texas, and definitely the H is going to be on fire, Waller, Texas, on the 26th. This is what it's all about. You know, this thing is going to end up going nationwide here shortly, you know, which that's what we're working on as well. But, you know, we do these things in order to help you get this exposure. Parents and players, you know, that tune into the show and that are in our circle, they know what this They know that this happens every time this happens, or every time this is put on. And that's the reason we brought it to you today, Coach. Another thing about this is you get a chance to see our early identification. We talked about this at the beginning. You know, when the parents thinking about signing up for camps, and you do this in the consulting and you try to direct them to the right camps, how important is that they understand what they're going to get from the camp? And you try to do this with the flex on as well. Speak on that a little bit.
Well, so the important thing is seventh grade through, ninth grade, up until you are a varsity guy. You should camp at as many, different kinds of camps as possible, because you're looking for specific things, not that your kid has, but what your kid is missing. Because again, the ultimate goal is to help them prepare for the biggest stage, which is get in front of these college coaches and anybody that's going through the recruiting process. The majority of all kids, I can't name, but maybe two or three that never had to actually camp because of their outside accolades. But pretty much everybody else is going to have to show up and get in front of these college coaches to show them what they do. And that process should be started as early as possible, because you want to find out where are they weak so you can work on those things in the off season, and then kind of prepare them based on their size, speed and all of those things, and based on the recruiting needs of a lot of these schools, point them in the direction of the camp that they're going to get maximum value. What do I mean by that, Mark? If you are a 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11" quarterback with average speed, and you're not throwing for 5,000 yards, 4,000 yards, UT is probably not the place you want to actually go camp because you're not going to fit their type of quarterback, and we can add the star stuff in it, that's for another time. But you should camp where you're going to get max value. Now, what we do is basically help you understand where you are right now and where you can be, right? Because we're telling you, hey, you got reps, or you're not getting enough reps, or you need to work on your cover skills. You need to work on your route running. So all of those things are extremely important before you go to the biggest stage. And how you test that is you go to showcases, you go to as many camps as possible, run the 40, do drills beforehand, go test it. If it don't work, go back to the lab, do all of that before you step foot on anybody's college camp.
Absolutely, and I think that hits home with everything the flex on is the beginning of it. It's the jump start. It's one of those things that gets you started and shows you how to camp and get you going in the right direction from an athletic standpoint, but also the mental makeup. And Coach Jay, you're a great catalyst about doing this, and I've seen you do it at multiple camps where you pull these guys over and you just have them you talk to them in between reps, or if you see something they don't do right. But the mental part of this game is every bit as important as the physical when it comes to your performance. And this is something that I've been alongside with Rubber Shoulders. When you're training, you try to get that across. But I think the flex zone does that as the mental aspect as well. You bring the campers together at the beginning, and then you bring them together at the end with a message going in and coming out. Mental makeup. Speak on that a little bit.
Absolutely. When you're at on the college campus and you're camping, these coaches are looking for guys that stand out, right? They're looking for guys with attitude, guys with swag, guys that are about their business, guys that are competing at 1,000%. Those are the guys that stand out, and ultimately the guys that end up getting an opportunity to push their football career beyond high school. So that has a lot to do with your mental capacity. You cannot show up if you're down. You cannot show up and be down, or understand that if I have one bad play, it's not the end. I have to recover from that. So if a parent see me talking to their kid, is uplifting them from a bad rep, or tell them, hey, that's a great rep. I need you to do that again and again and again, because those things are going to help so much more when you get in front of these college coaches. Those are the things that they're looking for. Who's going to stand out? Who can be a team player? Who can be that captain on the field without having to show it? And that is your energy and how you approach everything you do when you get in front of these coaches. Those are the things that we try to really push on the athletes to hone those skills. And it's a great place to see if you have it or you don't, because those are things that we know going to help you stand out when you get in front of those coaches.
Absolutely. And if you don't have it at that particular time, it's not, especially for the younger guys, it's a learned behavior. You have to learn how to be successful in these situations, in that crock pot, in that heated battle. And like you said, if you lose a rep, you got to come back and get that rep back. You know what I mean? And the flex zone teaches you all of those things right there. It shows you the way. And the proof has been in the pudding. Is these guys that have competed at the flex zone have gone on to be successful, have gone on to get camp invites, gone on to get offers from schools, have gone on to be, guys that are standouts at the high school level. This teaches you everything in that particular setting. That's the reason it's been successful for a number of years now. Is you get that when you come to a flex zone, and that's what you got to do. You got to be challenged. You got to get in the game and get it done. You know what I mean? And that's what we want to drive home today. Is that's the reason to get out there and get signed up for it. It's under the lights in Solana on this Sunday, and then you're going down to the H. You know what I'm saying? At Waller High School on the 26th. So man, you definitely do that, and definitely, it's still time to get it done and to get in the zone. But another thing, Coach, is I think it's a smart thing to try to get it under the lights, but it's still going to be warm. I think another thing that parents and players have to be aware is when you come to a camp or anything that you do outside, you got to take care of your body. And that's one thing that I've seen at the Flex Zone is you preach to these guys, hey, take care of your body, hydrate, and the recovery part after you get done. Speak on that a little bit.
No, absolutely. We will send out a message to every kid that signs up to stay hydrated all week. And the reason why we wanted it at night is because it's a little cooler, but understanding that it is still the summertime and kids are, running track during the day out in the heat. But we felt like it would be um, beneficial to have it in the evening where it's a little bit cooler and kids won't, burn out because it is very fast paced. We are not, trying to jump around and celebrate, every single rep. This is not uh, for fun. It is competitive. We want to have fun, but we want to spend that time getting as many reps as possible. So we want the kids to come in rested, hydrated, and ready to go. So we preach that, and any kid that signs up can reach out to me, reach out to you personally to see exactly what needs to be done in preparation day in. And then we always tell the kids at the end what they need to do when they go home. Parents, you make sure that your kid has, plenty of water in the tank before they get there, and put a good meal back in them within 45 minutes after they leave any camp, because that's what's going to help them rebuild after working so hard. And they're going to work at Flex Zone. It's a lot of work, and the kids love it.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, I don't know what else more we can say about it. It's just time to get there and show out and show up, show up and show out. The Flex Zone's going on Sunday, at Salina, under the lights. You know what I'm saying? Coach, tell them where they can go and get signed up. I think you can still go on Zorts and get signed up as well, right?
Yes, the registration. Shout out to Salina Coach Grayson. I missed him earlier. He will be in the building. Salina just won state championship. We'll
Yep.
have a few of their coaches on
Yep.
staff there as well.
Absolutely.
Um, you can go on Zorts. Everybody should know what Zorts is. Look up Flex Zone 101 Challenge and sign up. And here's the thing, we are not taking 300 kids. The registration will cut off if we get to 150, 180 kids, because we want to make sure that every kid is getting reps. We can't do that if we have a whole lot of kids. So I suggest you sign up fast, and sign up this week and come out and compete. Also, shout out again, Texas Top Talent just jumped in, and they're coming out to evaluate and rank kids. Flex Zone does not rank kids. We are here to help promote and help get kids ready to be ranked, but we don't do that. Of course, Marc, writes about the kids, evaluates, identifies. So shout out to Texas Top Talent for coming in and moving forward. I'm pretty sure they'll be a part of, all Flex Zone and Prospects events. So that way, parents, you can look them up, Texas Top Talent, and start looking at, how their rankings and all of that stuff work, and look for your kid to hopefully, be evaluated and ranked by them. And all of that matters to some. Um, but to us, our job is to help prepare kids to be in a position to get the accolades, to get ranked, to get in front of these college coaches and walk away with something.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, Coach Jay, we appreciate you giving us a little bit of our time
Love
today
it.
here on the show, man. Of course, Epic Sports Apparel CEO and Coast to Coast Athletics. Tell them where they can find you as well. You've been in the bag. I see you've been training. Got you still coast to coast with it. How they can get in touch with you if they want some consulting, and also where they can get the recruiting guide. Listen, you got to get this, man. It's in stores. It's online at Amazon. Tell them where they can get that as well.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Facebook SD Johnson, and everything else is under there. So look for me on Facebook. I'm probably the only SD Johnson that's on Facebook. And the recruiting blueprint, a common sense approach to recruiting, is on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. And make sure you leave me a shout out. It's an amazing source for helping guys that are wanting to get recruited understand what recruiting looks like at the ground floor. And it's a common sense approach. And yes, Mark, I'm still training. That's one of the things I absolutely love to do. So you guys can DM me for training. Now, training wise, I'm not the average. I do functional movement. I'm not a specific position guy. I do functional movement, which translates to speed.
Right.
And I take pride in what I do. So
Absolutely.
I love what I do. And that's how you guys can find me. And again, I appreciate and again, follow on the Mark, follow Mark Henry. And guys, we are constantly growing. And before you know it, um, I can guarantee you Flex Zone is going to grow like bananas as soon as Boogie gets to a point to where he can help on a regular basis. He already has some plans that he wants to install with the NFL guys, and so it's some major things coming up for Flex Zone that we're really excited about. So stay tuned.
Absolutely, man. Coach, I appreciate you as always for
As
tapping in
always,
today.
fam.
You already know it. We're locked in. Stay locked in, man. We're going to let you go, and we'll chop back up with you here real soon. Sunday, Salina, Texas. Y'all get signed up.
I see you in the building, my guy.
Yes, sir.
One.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate Coach Jay for hopping on Your Mark show today. Listen, one of those guys that's really down with it, the Flex Zone going on Sunday. But I just wanted to take a little time to shout out to my guys from Texas Top 22. They also have a camp going on this weekend, starting Friday and Saturday over in DeSoto High School. This is a little different where the guys that train the elite guys are getting together and they're taking an opportunity to get you guys the exposure you need as well. This is a up and coming camp that I also be working closely with those guys. They're going to have the media exposure there as well. But shout out to my guys over at Elite University and all of the trainers that are stepping into this. This is going to be big. A lot of times, when camps or circuits come to the city, when I say city, Dallas, Houston, or to Texas, these are the guys that they hire to train position-specific things. Well, Texas Top 22 is coming in, and they bringing this to you guys. It's going to be in DeSoto Friday and Saturday. Check out Texas Top 22. Shout out to my guys that are really getting it in. I have to go out of town, but I may be back on Saturday. Just looking at my schedule, I have to go out of town to Louisiana, so I would be there. But I may be able to get back on Saturday. But man, shout out to Texas Top 22 as well. We try to align ourselves with people that have like goals or like-minded people. When you have your circle. Texas Top 22, we've been working behind the scenes together. Shout out to those guys. This is going to be something that's starting as well. Anything to help kids get exposure, to get them seen, and then to do it the right way. We just got through talking about the Flex Zone with my guy Coach Jay, and we're heavily involved with that. This is something that's going to be on the verge of taking off as well. And guys, parents, players, this is another camp that you need to get out to as well. It's July the 11th and 12th on Friday and Saturday in DeSoto. You can follow them. It's at TXTOP22 on Instagram and on Twitter. But those guys are doing a great job, and this is going to be something that's big for these student athletes as well. And you can check out everything they got going on. But shout out to my guys at Texas Top 22 as well. Shout out to my guy J Mac for tapping in today. My guy Coach Brooks from True Buzz, Jesse Phillips, my guy Jack Bridges as well. My brother Kenny Matthews from FridayNightGlory.com. Everybody that tapped into the show today, we appreciate you joining us. But a little thing, something that was on my mind today. I'm always busy and working on a few things. Have my hands in things. But what's for you is for you. You know what I mean? And we always chasing things, and it seems like it's out of our reach. But the people that are for you are gonna be for you. Sometimes you see other things and you want those things, but it may not be the right situation for you. You know what I'm saying? Stick to who's in your circle. For lack of better words, I'm gonna mess with who messing with me. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we get to these things where we look, well, why not me, or why wasn't I picked for this? I've been doing this for a long time, and I know I'm good at what I do, and I feel like I'm a number one draft pick at what I do, and the proof is in the putting in the work. And I'm not saying that to beat my chest; it just is what it is. But I'm saying this to say, focus on what's for you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, go for it 100%. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you have to attack things. You know what I mean? I deserve everything that's coming to me, and I'm going to keep reaching for those things that I want and the goals. I'm not stopping at what I do. I got bigger goals for where I want to be on things I want to do, and I'm going to keep reaching for it. And who's with me is gonna be with me. You know what I mean? And who's not gonna be with me, they're not gonna be with me. I'm not reaching for something that's not attainable, and I can reach out and touch it. And that was just something. What I'm saying. I'm on the road a lot, and I go different places. I'm pretty much at a camp or a workout or something every weekend, or 365 when it comes to this scouting and football thing. And a lot of times you have an opportunity to think and go over things in your head. And I was just thinking on the drive to the studio today, I'm thankful for who's in my circle and who's, with me and who rolls with me. And I'm going to keep rolling with those guys. If you I don't make it, I'm not going to go out of my way to chase things that are not for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to chase things that I know is for me, and what's for me is for me, and what's not, I'm gonna keep on staying focused. That's the reason they put blinders on horses and greyhounds when they're in the race. They don't want to get distracted by what's going on over here. I'm gonna run my own race and stay focused on that. But that, usually, that's something, that I was thinking about this morning. I had a pretty good phone call with somebody this morning, and I thought to myself, man, hey, you're doing all the right things and you're going in the right directions. You know what I'm saying? And, everybody that supports everything I do, I just want to give y'all a quick salute. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to keep working. The work is the work. I'm a grinder. If you don't grind, you don't shine. This is what I do. You know what I mean? So, it's just something that was on my mind, and I wanted to get out to on the airways today, man. I'm going to keep reaching and striving for what's for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm staying focused on what's ahead. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to go grab it. You know what I mean? And, that's the reason, if you look at everything, it's on the mark, hit the mark, or hit your mark. It's a bullseye in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay straight with it. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep grinding and doing what I do, because it's bigger than just me. You know what I'm saying? This is my message to everybody. This is my calling. You know what I'm saying? It's to do what I do. And, I appreciate everybody that always taps in with me, man. And, we're going to keep grinding. You know what I'm saying? We're going to rise to the top, and we're going to keep doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's all we got for you today right here on the On Your Mark Show, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel. And listen, before we get off, if you have a business, if you have something that you want to help get out, man, reach out to me, man. DM me, man. We're always, looking to help and work with other businesses to for sponsorships, because, we're a big platform here at the Fishbowl Radio Network, as well as onthemarksports.com. Check out the website. We're going through some changes to get ready for the upcoming season. But, man, if you're with me, then you're with me, and we're going to keep rolling, man. And I appreciate everybody that's been tapping in and tuning in and liking and sharing, man. Go to the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel, man. Well, I think we got like 170 subscribers right now, but we need to get that up. There's a message there. If you go back and look at all of the episodes, it's something there to elevate and educate when it comes to this recruiting game, when it comes to this exposure game. That's all we want to do, is help you get to the next level. We want to help you, do your thing, man. And we appreciate everybody that's been tapping in, everybody that's been showing love. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna keep going up. It's a work in progress, and that's what we do. Shout out to my guys from the Dub. I'll be tapping in with them, watching that tonight. Those are my guys. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to J Mag, Pat Botezy, Coach Carr. And B Rise, man, I watch those guys religiously. You know what I'm saying? And they do a great job. And like-minded people stick, we think the same thing, you know what I'm saying? So, but listen, man, we out of time today. Shout out to my guy Angelo behind the ones and twos. It's the reason we've been the top show, but it's a dynamic duo. My guys got me right this morning. And listen, man, tap into the Fishbowl Radio Network. It's a lot of great shows here. Watched my guy DD last night. Man, we try to do everything right. Shout out to Sammy, the program director, for giving me this opportunity to get my message across each week. From Wednesday, from 11 to 12, right here on the On Your Mark show. My shout out to my guy, man, and Mike, who's going to take us out. We out.
Hey, this Manna Mike. I'm not sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grind it. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say, similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.